Hey, what's going on, guys? So we're going to be casting this game between Yami0 here in the blue at 1309 versus Cursed Aim here in the red at 1137. So our player in the blue opens up with the tour guide, and let's see what he ends up going for. I mean, there's so many decks that play tour guide, it could be pretty much anything. And it looks like he's not going for the Sangam play, so possibly he does want to go for Exceed. Usually people do want to go for Exceed. However, there are some circumstances where people go for tour guide to tour guide because they have Sangan in their hand and they just want to sack a card for Caius next turn, and they have like a warning set so they can get rid of a back row. But very rarely will you see that. It depends against what deck you're playing, but usually when they go for tour guide to tour guide, they're going to go for an Exceed, and most likely first turn it's Zen mains. And at the moment, a Dark Hole would be good. Oh, and a 6-Sam United comes out. And the thing with 6 hammers, though, they can swarm pretty darn fast. And a Mizuho comes out, and a Solemn Warning immediately comes out. And that is going to end the turn, essentially, for the red player here. Unless he happens to have a Monster Rude one. Because currently he will have no counters. And since he controls no 6 samurais, you can't just special summon more cards. 6 samurais are really reliant on their first summon. And a Heavy Storm comes out from our player in the blue. And that's absolutely going to be devastating. I see no point in setting that double edge sort technique because you didn't have enough targets for it, but perhaps he was setting up for next turn. But yeah, that Heavy Storm definitely was devastating for our player in the red, and I doubt he'll be able to come back from this. But it's strange to see him playing Bottomless, just because Inzectors are a super popular deck, and they get under that, and they can start destroying everything. But side decking Magatama's is not bad if you're playing 6 samurais against Inzectors because you just negate that destruction and you'll be pretty much good to go. And so Zenmei is going to go on the aggressive side here, going to be doing 1500 damage. If our player happens to have Gores, though, he could possibly come back from that, and it looks like he does not have Gores. Or perhaps he would want to drop it, but I see no reason why not to drop it, because a Rabbit is coming out pretty soon. So it looks like our player in the blue is most likely playing the Dino Rabbits here. Special summon of Keyson here, and as Grandmaster comes out next, and this is really good here because and another card right here. So our red player decides to go all in, and I think that is pretty much his only option at the moment, and he's gonna have to attack into Zen mains here multiple times, and our player in the blue still has to wait one more turn for that Rabbit, I believe. So he could be in a really good spot here. So let's see what it ends up going for. I believe the correct move... and a D Prison comes out. So he will only be able to destroy 2. I think D Prison, that was the best option, because if he would have D Prison Grandmaster, main phase 2 he could then Exceed, and that would be bad for our other player. And he will be able to detach Zen mains twice. But, if our 6 samurai player happens to... I don't know what he can top deck really into without any cards in hand. I believe 6 Samurais is a deck where you have to have cards in your hand, otherwise it doesn't work. It's kind of like top decking Gladiator Beasts. It really doesn't work too well, especially if your opponent already has field presence, because you need the protection for those Glads and those War Chariots. So end phase, a Keyson will get destroyed, and that is the correct option, because if you destroy Grandmaster, Grandmaster could just add itself or any other 6 Samurai in the graveyard. And a Dark Hole comes out, and that's okay. I mean, realistically, if he can end it this turn, but the thing is, Grandmaster's effect will be activated. He can then effect or not. I believe our player. This is ranked, but I guess he's taking it back because Grandmaster has the ability to add a card when he's destroyed, and our player in the blue decides no, he changed his mind, and that'd be it's okay. If you can finish off the 6 samurai player this turn, there's no need to worry about it. But both these decks don't have a very good option to get over bigger monsters. As you guys know, 6 samurai, basically Shien is basically their biggest monster that they really get out and just protect. They can make Trish pretty easy. But yeah, so our player in the blue, he really needs an answer to Grandmaster though, relatively soon, because if not, the player in the red... and a Rescue Rabbit comes out. And essentially, that's going to hurt quite a bit. But as you guys can see, 6 Samurais are just so much better at going first. Had the 6 Samurai player went first, he would have gained so much advantage. He would have had a 6 Sam United and I've been able to draw and make a really good field, but unfortunately it wasn't able to happen. And so most likely he's going to be going for a Loggia here, and I think that would be the better option because whatever the 6 samurai player top decks, he can just negate, and that will be game. Unless a player in the red can top deck all 5 pieces of Exodia, I don't think he's going to make it in this, as you guys can see. Yeah, that Heavy Storm hurt a lot, and on top of that, activated 6 Samurai United, and then not being able to summon anything. It really did hurt. Okay, so he took all the damage. And at the moment, yeah, there's really nothing our 6 Samurai player, unless he can set Spirit Reaper, which I don't think 6 Samurai players usually play, but that would stop this essentially really good play here. There's no one back row that can stop anything. I'm safe to say right now, I mean, if it was negate attack, he could possibly survive one more turn, but that realistically won't be a great option here. And our player in the red is going to GG out of here. And as you guys can see, 6 Samurais do fall apart quite fast. And ooh, a Magatama. But unfortunately, Magatama cannot stop warning unless there's already a face-up 6 Samurai. And you cannot do it on the 6 Samurai you are trying to summon unless there's another 6 Samurai on the field. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Asian Eyes White Dragon, signing out.